computer. Okay, welcome everyone. I know all of you, so I don't need to tell you who I am, except for Mary. You don't know, you've never met me, I don't think, have you? No. So for those of you who don't know, I've been recently called as the communications director for the Kingston district. And it was a calling that I was very happy to get because back in the 80s, and early 90s, I was the public affairs director for the Oshawa state. Let me just get rid of this. And I absolutely love the calling. I had that calling when we built the Toronto Temple, and I helped oversee the open house at the Toronto Temple, which was a lot of fun. So anyway, I don't want to assume that people know more than they know or less than they know. So I thought I would just start right at square one with what's happening nowadays with communications, now called communications, of course, and what the church is expecting. So the first thing I wanted to do was show a couple of short videos. They're very short. Are you seeing Elder Tom Perry right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I was in Guam at the time they called me.
Oh, wow.
I'm an accountant by profession. Green shade, armbands, working over a desk. And they called me to be chairman of the council. Affairs is essential to building the kingdom of God on earth. The Savior and his final instructions to the 12 was all the world and teach. Missionaries are called for full-time service to be teachers. Like affairs, we build relationships, doors, and allows the church to be established around the world. My earliest experiences with this War II. Never seen such devastation in all your lives. They had been prevented from holding religious service. The chapels had been damaged. Reorganized and rebuilt the churches, replastered some of the walls and got them set up. The first meeting with them. That started a community of faith in Nagasaki, which would only spread. Just as we were leaving, these 200 great saints over the hill singing Onward Christian Soldiers came down, showered us with gifts, then lined up along the train. And as we left, thing that you'll never forget, you'd done some good. Called to a very important position in our Father in Heaven's kingdom. It's not by chance you're here. You have the personality, the spirit, the vitality to carry on this work. We want you to use the tools that are available to you and your knowledge and understanding of this great calling which is yours. In the work and carry the message out to the peoples of the world.
So that's video number one. And this is video number two.
Think of a calling really that would be more exciting than working in the public affairs challenges that we have as a church now. It is the cutting edge of the church. It opens doors for missionary work. It opens doors for the building of new temples. It opens doors for religious freedom. Public affairs is in the center of so much that we do, and it's critically important to ensuring that we can do the things that we have a divine mandate to accomplish.
So the first thing I want to talk about is the opinion leader roadmap. So this is key to what public affairs is about. Priesthood leaders direct public affairs work using priesthood keys. They guide the work by revelation, understanding the unique challenges of the church in their area. Priesthood leaders determine public affairs objectives, and we're going to go over that for our district in a second, with the help from their public affairs councils. The priesthood leaders and public affairs councils then work together to achieve these objectives. The what, so is the priesthood objective, so our district goals, which we're going to talk about. The who are the opinion leaders that can help us achieve these goals, and how. How do we do it? Do we do it through an event? Do we do it through activities? So our goal is to find those who have the greatest influence on helping us achieve our objectives and build relationships with these leaders. So public affairs councils create an opinion leader roadmap for each opinion leader that they have identified in their community. This opinion leader roadmap will play a critical role in the work you do and will be discussed at various points throughout this training. And your public affairs calling may be very different from other callings you've had. Rather than serving primarily with church members at the meeting house, you will reach out to those not of our faith and in a variety of settings. This means you may visit a rabbi at a synagogue, a mayor at a city hall, or a journalist at a cafe. You will mingle with people representing a wide spectrum of political persuasions, denominations, and familiarity with the church. This requires humility and the ability to work well with people. While public affairs work focuses on those not of our faith, conversion is not the goal. And that's key. Conversion is not the goal of what we're doing. This isn't missionary work. Success in public affairs comes when we help people of influence better understand the church. Stop share here. Okay. So that's kind of the key to what we're doing. And I have sent you some handouts, and one of the handouts includes the Kingston district road, our goals. And I'm going to bring that up right now. Can you all see it? I'm going to take that as a yes. So we spent a lot of time, the district council and the district presidency, on creating this plan, and it is meant to be as a living document. So it's not set in stone. It does have the flexibility that we can make changes and modify it as things change. Now, in this, you would go to page 5. I mean, it's a good idea to read the whole thing if you haven't, but our section starts on page 5.
Dan?
Yes.
I look at the one you sent in the email, and it's all garbled. It's got the different goals are piled on top of each other, so it's not legible.
Is that the same for the rest of you? Has anybody else opened it?
I'll try right now and see.
Thanks. Okay, so it starts out in our section for the public affairs plan. Of course, we were still using public affairs terminology when President Sagen put this together. It's now communications. To establish a positive community reputation in the Kingston, Ontario district. Well, how are we going to do this? Number one, by striving to apply the principles outlined by the Area 70 in the Kingston, Ontario district goals in the preparation and implementation of all public affairs events and initiatives. Number two, so again, everything you read in the Kingston District plan is coming from on high. It's coming from the general authorities, and this is the plan that they want to see implemented, and we've custom designed it based on our district. Number 2, integrating the public affairs specialists into the work of the district and branch councils. So we have to see ourselves as a tool that to be used by the different groups. Now, Just Serve is the primary example that we're using right now, because you guys are launching this new program, which we're all very excited about. And so we as public affairs are going to be used as a tool to help promote this out into the district and the community. So that can apply to anything. That can apply to a family history conference or anything like that. And integrating the public affairs specialists in the work of the district and councils so that the value the value they add brings a broader perspective concerning the potential opportunities that may exist to make public some of the activities or perspectives of the church. Incorporate consideration of events that will be raised at the branch councils, working groups, district council, and branch councils throughout the year. So basically, we are the Kingston District PR. It's our job to take the message that's meant to get out there and get it out to the right people. Number 3, all events should be viewed through the public affairs lens by the public affairs specialists to access their potential, or to assess their potential for public relations opportunities. I've had a meeting with Rich Trinidad, who is who is overseeing public affairs for our entire mission, I guess. So 8 stakes and our district. And one of the things he stressed, which was stressed to me even back in the 80s, this is not missionary work, which I mentioned earlier. We have to think of ourselves as not out proselyting, but out spreading the word and the achievements and our district goals. Number 4, developing a greater role, a greater voice, and a stronger relationships within the towns and cities within the jurisdiction of each branch. So obviously there's the branches there. And that greater role and greater voice and relationships, that can be with the media, that can be with community leaders, politicians, and things like that. That can be with other ecclesiastical leaders, and it can be with Just Serve. It can be with not-for-profit organizations and service organizations. There's a wide variety of what we can do. But again, we have to keep one thing in mind all the time. Does this help achieve the district goals? It's very easy to get sidetracked in this, go off on the rails, and we only have so much time. The people I'm looking at right now on this screen are some of the busiest people I've ever met in my life. Your time is extremely valuable. So we need to stay focused and make sure that what we're doing is helping to reach our goals. Expand the use of social media as admonished by Elder Bednar to flood the earth. We have a separate social media committee that has Sister Harvey, Yona Harvey, and brother Steve Murray, and myself. And so you will not have to worry much about social media. We have people that are being trained for that, because social media has just become huge in the church and in the district. Our district has been way ahead of the curve with almost right across Canada. President Ensign is constantly singing our praises and how well we've been doing and teaming up with the Kingston missionaries on, with our Facebook pages and all that. We even do Facebook advertising, which we did at Easter, and we have some other events coming up. So number 6, differentiating between public affairs efforts and missionary efforts by pursuing our public affairs visions with no proselyting. Well, I just covered that. establishing important relationships with influential members of our communities in order to dispel myths, foster understanding, and find common ground. I should have made those bold because they're key. So we all know what it's like being members of the church. I don't see any new members here. And it's amazing what people think about us out there. I am constantly asked, I don't know whether you get this, Blair, but I'm constantly asked by people, oh, I thought the Mormons didn't like music. And I say, you have to be kidding me. You ever heard of the Osmonds or the Mormon Tabernacle Choir? Oh, the other one I get is, oh, you're not allowed to dance. These are myths, except when I try and dance with my wife and she says, you just can't dance. But anyway, so that is part of our job, is to overcome these myths and help foster an understanding and find common ground. We can find common ground with any religion, and even people that do not have religious beliefs. Number 8, working with the branches to facilitate and oversee the rollout of the Just Serve program within the Kingston district. Well, we all, you guys are doing an amazing job already with this. Number 9, opening and seeking opportunities for expressing our voice at community events, multi-faith events, and with the local media outlets in harmony with our vision. That's going to be a focus. Once we get Just Serve going, I'm kind of giving you guys a break for now until we get let's focus on Just Serve. I do have a small assignment for everybody that ties in with what we're doing with Just Serve. But once that's up and rolling, we are going to be building relationships, especially with the media and people of influence in the communities. That's going to be a big part of our goal. We are to become an integral part of every branch and district council in assessing and linking council efforts and activities to the community. So that's your job as our local communication specialists. And then you will bring that to this council here and let's see if we have any common needs throughout the district or unique needs. Again, and we've already said this, to build relationships with community leaders throughout the area, media, and using social media. Some of this is a little repetition here, and interfaith leaders. We've been told that this does not have to be as big of a focus as it used to be. So, I mean, sometimes that's turned out to be positive, and other times it hasn't been. We've had our communications people end up on councils and then kicked off councils or not invited to councils and all that. We can't wait for them. We need to go ahead. We need to build the kingdom. I mean, yes, it would be nice if we have a good working relationship with them, but it's not necessary. Service, to become a familiar face as we strive to give Christ-like service within our communities. Well, what a better way to do that than through the Just Serve program? To implement the Just Serve program by identifying, approaching, inviting, educating, and training nonprofit organizations to utilize Just Serve. There's a good reason that President Sagen decided to have the district communication reps also be involved with Just Serve, because the two really go hand in hand. And Brother Preet and I have had several meetings, and we are going to work together to make this work and to integrate as much as we can together. Okay, the rest I would kind of like you to, it just goes into more detail, and there are charts here of what's our specific goal, how do we measure, how will we know when it's accomplished, anyway. So you can go through this in your own time. We're short on time here because we got a late start. And I've sent you a copy of all of this. Did anybody else open the plan to see if it would open?
Yeah, I did, and it looked fine for me.
Okay, so Sister Elliott, maybe we can, you and I can talk at another time, and we'll definitely get this to you. So the next thing I would like to go over, second here. So this is the Public Affairs Training Guide. This is fresh off the website, even though it says Public Affairs. And it really has everything that we need to know. How to get started. Let me just a second here. No, I don't want to do that. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, how to build relationships. There's a whole section on that. Media relations, serving in public affairs, and for priesthood leaders on how to use the public affairs councils in achieving your district goals. So again, we don't need to go through a lot of this because you have it here. It's actually pretty light reading. It's worth looking at. That we are going to be having training sessions. This is just a kickoff to give you an idea. Let me show you. Let's go here just one second. There's a whole training program with the church. And we are going to be going through this because, you know, I've been speaking with some of you, and some are concerned that this just feels like it's out of their comfort zone a little bit, and you know, that they don't think they're necessarily the right people to be out talking with business leaders and everything like that. And so we're going to be going in. Okay, sorry, let me just log in again. I was out of it too long. So we're going to do our best to help build those skills. The section that we just went through is the very first section. And then we have all of these different things, you know, specifically, how do we reach out to opinion leaders, the council itself that we have together, interfaith relations, community relations, media relations. And we do have a budget. We need to plan what our expenses are and what we need. We will be doing that this fall so we can submit it. And then there are also, there's the training guide that I have just sent you. How are we doing for time? Okay. So I do have one assignment for everyone, and it's a very important one. I'm going to bring this screen up. This shouldn't take you much. Well, it might take Sister Elliott a little longer because she's in a big community. And Winona, I would suggest you know how you and I talked about bringing somebody on to help you with this? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I did talk to President Sajan. He thought that was a great idea. So you and I can speak about who you might have in mind, and then I can run it by him. But what we would like you to do, or what we need you to do, is take this form, and we're looking for media contacts, because as we're doing good work, we already have some great things happening. We have our all these donations that the church is making to area organizations that's not being publicized properly. We have the Just Serve program that's being launched. There's all sorts of good work, volunteering in food banks and all that. We need to be able to get this out. And I'm looking at this in two ways. There will be some announcements that will be sent out district-wide, and we will take care of that on our end here. And then there will be local content. So when we donate a check to the local food bank or that type of thing, then I will work with you to get that sent out, because it's really important that it's not important that Dan Scher builds a relationship with all the media right across the district. It's important that the local person builds these relationships so that you can invite these people out to events and they will know who you are in advance. So print advertising is the first category. So the name of the company, contact name, contact email, phone number, website, and any comments. Now these comments can be changing. You know, like I phoned this person on this date and I didn't get an answer, or I left a message, or that person phoned back. So that can be changing. So that's print advertising. Radio advertising. There are several radio stations in every one of these communities. Now, what you might find, this is a little thing that might help you. Sometimes the same company will own 2 or 3 radio stations. So when you're researching their websites to get this contact information, you might find that you have to contact the news directors for all 3 stations, or they might have one news director that takes care of all the stations. So it takes a little bit of detective work, but we need that person, we need their name and their contact information. Online.
Hey, Dan, just a question for me. Knowing a little bit about this already, like between the Trenton and Belleville relationship, most of these are all Belleville-based companies that, for the radio and all the print stuff, is going to be all like Belleville-based, right? So it's going to be mostly coming from there, I guess, right?
Yes. So you and I and Sister Palmer can work together on that.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Belleville kind of seems to dominate around here.
So I'm thinking like with the Trentonian and the Intelligencer situation, and obviously like the Rock 107 being part of, you know, Queen Broadcasting and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. So there is some media that is a little more Trenton oriented, and or Quinte West, and I think the 3 of us can sit down and go through that and figure out, you know, what type of an announcement should go out. Is it just for Quinte West? And if it is, you know, again, we're dealing with, like you said, so we can meet, the 3 of us can meet separately on that and kind of define that. Okay. Online media, there are, you know, we're getting more and more and more and more online media, Quinte News, things like that are not print anymore. They're just online. So we want to know who they are. Some places well, does Kingston still have a TV station, CKWS?
I believe so. I don't ever watch it. I don't have television.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, that's great. So we need to know that. Now, we also need to know there are sometimes TV stations. When I was teaching in Cornwall, the Ottawa station, that was part of their catchment area. So they actually came down. I was teaching communications technology there, and we had our own TV station and a radio station that broadcast. And they came down and covered the whole program. And there was a guy way back then, was a guy named Max Keeping, that was with the Ottawa station. You remember Max? And Max came down and he loved what we were doing so much that they gave us all their old equipment. So this school had a TV station and we were using like camcorders and stuff. And they gave us their slightly out of date cameras and everything, and an editing suite. But what was interesting is there was a big fire on the main corner in Cornwall, and my crew got out there, and by the time Ottawa got down to there, it was just nothing. There was just nothing left. So they used our footage, and they used our footage in a couple of different cases. So we built up a relation, even though it was Ottawa, they covered this area. So as an example, there are people that watch, like Trenton, let's use that as an example. There are people that watch CKWS and they will come down and cover stuff. And Peterborough will come down and cover, you know, the Brighton area and places like that. So we don't leave them out of the equation just because they're not bang right in the middle of the town, right? All right, so that's your assignment. I don't think this will take you much more than an hour if you use the websites, and because we need this in place for the launch of Just Serve. So it is time sensitive. We need to have this in place. I do want to show you one more short video. And I think it's very appropriate with everything you're going through right now. So let me bring it up. There it is here.
There may be times when we may feel overwhelmed, hurt, or on the edge of discouragement as we are trying so hard to be perfect members of the church. Be assured, there is balm in Gilead. Let us listen to the prophets of our days as they help us to focus on the things that are central to the Creator's plan for the eternal destiny of His children. The Lord knows us. He loves us. He wants us to succeed, and He encourages us by saying, "And see that all things are done in wisdom and order, for it is not requisite that men or women should run faster than they have strength, but it is expedient that they should be diligent."
So I thought that was appropriate with everything you're going through with Just Serve right now. And I know this can be very overwhelming, and Brother Preet and I are going to work together the best we can to make sure you're not overwhelmed. And he's got a great team. Well, we have a great team. It's just you ended up working with Brother Preet before the communications thing. But I'm thrilled to be working with you. I'm honored, and I think we have an amazing team. And if we all work together and we help each other's with overcome our weaknesses and use our strengths to help each other, I think we can achieve these objectives, and we can let the world know that the Kingston district rocks. Now, does anybody have any questions? Because then I'm going to hand it over to Brother Preet. See how sharp you guys are? You don't even have questions. Okay, Brother Preet, you're on. You're muted, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Well, to underpin what Brother Scher has said, that in section 1 of the Doctrine and Covenants, it says that one of the missions of the church is to come out of obscurity and to be visible to the people of the earth. So that, as I understand it, public or communications now, when I heard this preface, that it's kind of not just to position the church in our local communities, but to position it in a world where there's all kinds of contention and disorder. So that part of the calling is very great. The other thing I would say is that for about 6 or 7, well, I guess since about mid-January, that we haven't really had a functioning public affairs director. So that Just Serve has been kind of our major focus, and I hope that will continue at least until I think Brother shares an agreement that our immediate priority is to get Just Serve off the ground. And then once we get that done and it's up and running, then we can reach out in some of these other areas. And I'm thrilled as can be that I have a new assistant, which is Sister Myers, and she's good. She knows I'm at age 78 in about 5 weeks. I'm not really a grand master of computer technology. I get by, but it's so. And Brother Scher is very strong in this area. He's had all kinds of experience, and so I think you'll enjoy his tutorship and his instruction. And so I'm not exactly planning to fade into the background, but when we get Just Serve up and running, I think that the focus will change a bit in terms of try to not overload you if we can. Right? Is that right, Brother Scher? Yeah, so we're gonna. try to
Absolutely.
do things in order as systematically as we can. So, Mary, I want to talk a little bit about how we approach new organizations. In other words, ones we haven't talked with. Last time, I want to read to you from our minutes because last time we talked about how we should approach those organizations with which we've had a ongoing contact. And for example, there are about 12 or 13 organizations that were approved by the area presidency for Just Serve for the missionaries. So we have contacts with them, and some have lapsed a bit, and others we can revive and reinvigorate. So that's one group. And then we have about 15 or so groups that have been the beneficiaries of humanitarian aid grants. So we have ties and relationships with them. So I want to read to you, Winona has been taking excellent minutes for us. And so this is, remember that we're now approaching the, I would say the last days, but the final sort of a big thrust of our Just Serve drive. But please be aware that this is not an end. This is only a stepping stone, because we want to keep it going once we get started. And I think that we've made a tremendous impact in the community. Our members are becoming much more community oriented, and also I think there much growing awareness in the community that our willingness is to help the poor and the needy, and to strengthen our community. So that those are good things. But I wanted to read to you the summary that Sister Elliot Shep did of we had training 2 months ago on how to talk with the people that we are already in touch with. So I'm just going to read this to you, because I think that it's about as good a summary as can be had. And this is not really the main thrust of our training tonight. We want to go on to discuss how we can approach 5 new groups. So not just these groups, but 5 new groups that we've asked you to identify that we think that we might have some traction with. So, okay, so let me read this to you. Roy Preet, Instruction, Reapproaching Community Organizations About Just Serve, Role Playing and Evaluation. We had pretty good fun with our role play. Winona was representing a group that you were working with, and I was the Just Serve guy. So here's some of the points. Establish a relationship of trust. All we're talking about here is just good human communications, but missionaries can't really teach anybody until they establish some kind of bonding with them, some kind of interaction. So we're establishing relationships of trust. And I think in many cases, Ken, you would verify this, that all the people out there love you. When you come around, they know who you are, and they're happy to see you. Is that right? You're muted there. Ken, you're still muted. I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah, that's right, Roy.
Okay, so find a common interest. If you're gonna, when Mary and I had a little chat with Tracy Legault Davis over at VIQ before Sister Walter came on, and it was quite wonderful. We learned about our families and stuff, and we had some bonding taking place, so that now we can do work. We kind of understand each other, and that was, we need to get a report on how things are going hereafter, but I think everything's in good shape. And then we have to, before you teach, you have to find out what the students know. And that's, I think, the first principle of teaching. So find out what they know, and what they need now and in the future. And we find out what their prejudices are. And so we get to kind of come up with some idea how we might proceed. So the first contact, and I'm suggesting a systematic approach. Don't approach them and think they're going to join up on the first visit, but we have to, lots of people out there have had very negative attitudes toward Latter-day Saints. So we're trying to build this rapport. So ask if they need volunteers and send a link to the video on JustServe on the justserve.org site. People can read that, hear that little video, and see how people join up and how they join up. In the lower right-hand corner, there's a green badge, which will allow them to see what they're supposed to do. And on the second visit, explain how JustServe works. And on the third visit, ask them to try it out if they've got some needs that they have to move, or to they need new volunteers, or if they're, how this works is that they post they submit their needs. That goes to Mary, and then she will approve them and post them on JustServe. So that's how the process works. So it's not very complicated, but you just have to do it. So, and so we had a role play, which I thought was quite fun. And we need to explain that, volunteers, organizations have ongoing needs, like every week or twice a month, and then they have special needs. So JustServe can manage both of those. We can't promise them the world and all. We have limited resources, so that we say, okay, this is a community web page, and it will go out to others. And our resources, you may have some response or not, depending on what's going on in our particular congregation, but at least you get it out there. And explain that it's an interactive site that links volunteers with the needs for service in the community, and then talk about it. So anyhow, that's just some kind of interactive things. Now, I sent around for our meeting on the 7th, I sent around the church's discussion on the first call. And Mary, do you want to put that on the screen? Do you have that at your fingertips there somewhere? It's kind of a formalized sort of approach, and it's assuming that people, are going to respond. But I'm suggesting in the material I just sent around before this meeting, which I hope we can review fairly quickly, that I'm suggesting that we might need to adjust it slightly. Now there's hey, welcome, Brother Lee. Nice to have you here. Do you want to, you're on mute. Maybe we should have everybody unmute. We're just a little group. It won't crash the site, and then we can talk more freely if you're willing. Okay. Okay, so do you have that? I sent it around.
Yeah, just give me a second. I think what is it exactly that you wanted again?
It's the first call video or PowerPoint that the church that I sent around before our last meeting. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, give me a second. Sorry.
How many have? Oh, we can. Don't worry. You're good. How many have read that or looked through it? I know some have. Did you win? Did you see it? Can you still? Oh,
yeah, I did look at it. Yes.
Was that of any help at all? Did it?
Yep.
The main idea, I think you all know can do this. The main idea is to give you more confidence that you, because I think that you can do it. It's just a question. There we go. Okay, making the first call. Okay, so just Mary, if you want to scroll through that, and I will talk about it as we go. It's a PowerPoint, so it's not. There's no audio to it. It's just a power. There we go. So just there on the right side or the left side are the various screens. So okay. So making the first call. This is what this is about, and it's a phone call, huh? So some of you might have seen that old video of the phone call that was kind of fun that we used to watch a few years ago. But anyhow, relax. So have pen and paper. Smile, even though the phone, unless you're FaceTiming it, nobody's going to see. But you know, be confident, be relaxed, to be normal, speak clearly, leave a succinct message. You'll probably get people's answering machine, and that may or may not work. So, okay, let's go to the next one. Remember, and this is, I would say maybe that the goal is to get an appointment or to get people to want to inquire. So we don't, on the first presentation, we don't give our first call, we don't normally give a presentation, but we might, you know, discuss a little bit and say, oh, well, we can have another discussion. After you've had a look at this webpage, we'll explain a little bit more, you know. Keep going, please. Okay, so what to say? Well, say, hello, my name is Mary Meyer, and I'm with Just Serve, which is and I'm giving you the statement here more or less as they give it. I'm with Just Serve, which is a free interactive community website. That's the elevator statement, huh? That's kind of like what you say when you're in the elevator and they say, well, who are you? And you say, well, I work with so-and-so. That brings organizations and volunteers together to do good things in the community. Now, I'm suggesting we say interactive community website because that allows us to say that this is not just a bulletin board, but it's, you know, people post and they get answers. It's we interact, the people interact with the so then they say, well, what do you mean? Well, we can explain that. Okay, so then the purpose in our calling and ask for an appointment and thank you, state your purpose. So this is kind of a crisp 1.5 minute sort of a phone call. I'm suggesting that maybe in our community we need to be a bit more chatty, but be to the point, but not quite so brusque. So keep going. Okay, so hi, I'm with Just Serve. Just Serve is a free website that brings organizations, volunteers together to do good things in the community. I'd like to meet and show you how Just Serve can help your organization connect with more volunteers. Helen Warner, who in Toronto or in Brampton got Just Serve going very well by asking people, you know, do you want more volunteers? Well, we can't offer much, but the site can. And then set a time to meet or to talk. And so that's the idea, keep it fairly simple. I look forward to, thank you, Millie. I look forward to meeting with you, learning more about your organization and sharing with you how Just Serve can help you connect with volunteers. So that's kind of what happened in our discussion with Tracy, wasn't it, Mary, that we had a substantive chat, but fundamentally it boiled down to getting acquainted, to learning about their organization, for us sharing Just Serve, and then after that to looking after the technical side of it. So okay, so I've used up all my time, and I think I have to let Mary take over. I sent around this evening a list of things that I think you might look at with regard to the new people that we're approaching. And this is a little different because we haven't talked to them yet. So we need to learn about their organization, what services they provide and what people they serve. When I came to get my job at RMC, fortunately, I had a former student, an officer, sit beside me to coach me on what was happening at the college. But if you want to talk with people, you have to find out what they're doing and what their focus is. So that's important. Introduce yourself, explain that what you're with Just Serve, be complimentary. I'm sort of very impressed with what you do with Lionheart. So many organizations that you provide food for. Inquire how their organization is managed during the pandemic. You've been probably impacted quite a bit by this. How, you know, have you been able to keep going? Do you need volunteers now or in the future? If they say, well, yeah, we're pretty short of staff, say, well, maybe perhaps we can help. And then send them around the Just Serve page to look at and become acquainted with. Set an appointment for another discussion. We're not trying to score on one throw, you know. We're we're just providing information. That's what they see there, that little video. And the website has both how you sign up as a volunteer and how you proceed, how you sign up as an organization. The organization badge is kind of hidden in the far right-hand corner, but it's there. Okay, and then, set up an appointment. And I think that our theory should be to proceed by small degrees. We build a relationship of trust. We don't expect to meet, some may be enthusiastic and say, I'd be thrilled, and others might be saying, oh, well, we're not too interested, but I'd have a look at your webpage maybe. And, but be cheery, pleasant, relaxed. That's our brand. We're servants of the Lord. We joy in our service. And then be prayerful. Pray always. And trust in the Lord. He'll open the doors. It's been my experience that you can bang your head against a whole lot of doors, but when you rap on the right one, it just swings open like it was on greased hinges. So the Lord will look after us and prepare us. We've already got, with 9 sites, 9 listings on our site that we're going to launch. Whether we get a whole bunch more or not, we're moving in the right direction. So this is how that's done. So, okay, well, maintain goodwill. Huh? We're doing like missionary work. If you're not interested now, well, I'll check back with you in 6 months or so and see if the things have changed. We want to let them know that we're interested in service, that we're interested in them, and that we're their fellow servants in this work of. Remember, in Matthew 25, the sheep are those who looked after the poor and the needy, and the goats are those who turned them away. So this Christian fellowship is, we have one area where we're spot on with everybody out there that has good feelings of service. So Mary, it's yours, and I'm sorry to run over. We'll have to give you 5 minutes more at the end.
I think I can do it quickly, and succinctly, so we'll be good. So I've just been asked to share how to actually sign up for a project or post a project on Just Serve. So unfortunately, we had a little hiccup with Brother Harrington. We were trying to get him to get through it. And there was one portion that wasn't letting him continue on. And so I ended up submitting it for him. So if that happens, I'm more than willing to take that project and post it for you. But hopefully the idea is that everybody can post. So this is the main site that you see right now. Make sure that you're logged in. If you're logged in, your name will appear up here in the upper right-hand corner. If I click on projects, and then I have Kingston, Ontario as where I'm searching for. So you can change that using a zip code or your city. And then I searched within 75 miles of Kingston. And so this is what we have. Some of these have been up here for a little while. And then some new ones that we've added are the Great Canadian Shoreline Cleanup. And unfortunately, we don't have pictures because that part isn't working right now. And I tried it again today, but I don't know why it's not letting me post, but I'll continue to figure that out. The Great Lakes Watershed Cleanup is another one that has been added. And I believe there's another one down here as well. The Hygiene Kit Assembly. This is the one that Brother Harrington had posted. And so I'll just click on that so you can see what it looks like. There's a short synopsis here of what's going to be happening, where it's happening, and who they can contact. If there is a website that it's linked to, you click on check it out, and there will be an additional website there. Maybe I'll go back to current project and show you what that looks like. So like the Watershed, this is an ongoing one that anybody can participate in. So it has pretty general information. And I used oh no, I used that. Anyway, so right here, you can click and go to the organization's website. It takes you right to where all the information is, and you can sign up that way, right? As soon as my computer catches up. So that's what it looks like when you start to interact with the projects, okay? It's still gonna pink a little bit, I guess. But going back to the main page, oh, maybe everything's gonna be slow on me. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a green box that says submit a project. And so that's where you would submit your project. There we go. So right here, submit a project. And then you just have to agree that the projects follow all of the policies that JustServe has all their guidelines. So for example, if I want to do a hygiene kit assembly, maybe here in Kingston, you put in all your contact information. All of this does need to be included. If it's a general posting and you don't want to use your information, so it could be the volunteers' information that we're working with, the organization in the community, or ours if it's within the church, for example. You can put general inquiries and whatever website, or not website, but email address they have as well. So that's pretty simple. One thing that I found, I don't know why, it's better to click up here on the numbers than it is to click next. So that's what I've been doing. It seems to work a little bit better. You can add to an organization. This is if, so for example, like Brother Preet has been saying, we signed up VIQ and with Tracy. So they have an organization within JustServe now. And so if this project is connected to their organization, then we would link it there. For now, most of ours don't have organization. So we're going to put that. And then project details. Here's where you just add a little synopsis of what might be happening. So hygiene assembly. It's going to repeat here because I'm not actually going to post this. It's just for an example. And then you can upload an image. And then go to the next page. At any point, you can save this and it will go to your drafts. And I'll show you that, I guess, at another time if needed. So we want them to sign up on JustServe because there's not another website to sign up on. They're going to be contacting me if they have any questions. Here's where you can like, people can search for different things that they're interested in. And so you want to add different tags. So like community, I think there's one that's homeless. There we go, homeless and housing, things like that. Okay, so, and putting as many as actually apply is a really good thing because then if they're searching that way, it will populate more often. When and where. So this is in person. If it's remotely, different things will come up. It's suitable for all ages, a group project. And it will take place at the Church Christ. And then you add a location and you click here, put in what the address is. Which is 22 Fort Battersea Road, verified address. That part's important. I forgot it once and got really frustrated because I couldn't move on at that point.
That was the Kingston address you put in there. This is only a template. She's going to delete all this when she finishes.
Yeah, that's right. You can add specific instructions. For example, go in the front doors or call so-and-so when you get here. It's going to take place on a single day. You're going to assemble kits, the day, the start time, and the end time. And then if they need to contact somebody when they arrive, they can click it here. And then let's say you need a specific amount of volunteers, you can put what you need here, and you can also limit the groups. So you don't get more than you need. I'm going to say no though at this time. And then the final step is to review. And then you can post to website. I believe if you have different rights that maybe you won't be allowed to post to website, it might say something different like submit for approval. I don't know because I haven't seen it from that aspect.
Yeah, that would, you probably, if you're an organization, it would be submit project. And then you're, as an administrator, you post it to the website.
I can post
Has to
it.
go through
Yeah.
that step, yeah.
Yep. So at that point, you could post or continue editing. I'm going to just save it at this point, save as a draft. And if you have something that's ongoing, so Brother Harrington, this is kind of an answer for you too, from the other day. You can save it as a template if it's something that maybe you want to adjust a little bit once a month or whatever it may be, so that you can continuously come back to it. We'll save. And that's basically it. I know it was maybe a little bit fast, but we are still recording, I believe. So you can always go back and review that or ask me if you have any questions. This is where I can come in and manage the projects that we already have. And this is where my drafts are if I want to go back and finish them or use the templates, for example, to update something.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, thank you. I think the main thing about this is that it's fairly straightforward. I did a couple of those. I invented a soccer club to help youth and filled it out. And you might want to try a run or two, but here's what we're proposing, that if you get to step 3 and you have somebody that's interested, that we set up a Zoom, and so that they would talk with you and us and with Mary and myself. And so we will walk you through that until, I think the outside organization might be interested, or the group would be pleased to know that there's some people that are knowledgeable on the site that can intervene. We don't expect you to have all that technology or knowledge. That it might take 3 or 4 times before you get comfortable with walking people through. So if you get someone that is interested in joining up, give me or Mary a call, and I'll refer her to, we'll set up a Zoom to, so we'll make this work so that we're not going to, in other words, waste our opportunities for want of technical support. But you're not expected to be the end all in the computer side of it. But if you cultivate these relationships, we can provide the backup that you need to get them on. Explain how it works. Pardon me?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. To add, I think with a lot of these organizations, it would be easy to start with just putting them on as an organization and not a specific project. It's really simple, and there's not really any pressure that way for the organization. It's just another place for their name to be out there. And so that is probably a good starting point as well. I didn't show how to add an organization. I believe I need to do that. I don't know for sure. But just so that you guys are aware, when you're contacting people, it might be easier just to talk about, hey, this is just more exposure for you rather than specific projects at this time.
So it's pretty neat kind of a system, actually. It's fairly labor intensive because somebody has to approve until when they get established, then they become their own administrator and they can manage it all themselves. So we try to get them coached a bit, and then we're going to turn it over to the groups. This is what's happening with VIQ, President Harrington. The next step is for them to be their own administrator. So, okay, well, that's about all that we have for this evening. Any questions on what we said? Is this too complicated? Is it too overwhelming? I don't think we're not asking you to, go on CNN or anything. That this is you go talk with the people talk in a normal, natural kind of way. Say, hey, we might be able to help you. We've got this community website, which is sort of a clearinghouse between the organizations needing volunteers and people are willing to volunteer, and it's all carefully managed. So can we help you? That's I think what our message is. And whatever we get, if we get 2, we get 5, we get 50, we're already doing great work. the work that you've done in the communities is fabulous. And in my mind, service is the most important thing. Just serve as a vehicle for facilitating that. And I know the people that developed it. They're amazing people, Bill and Sidney Price, and what their intents were in developing it. So, well, the Lord bless you. I think we should have a closing prayer. And Ken, since you're dead center in my screen, how would you like to say the prayer? And by the way, don't be intimidated by the discussion that you had with Brother Share. That's all down the road. We're going to get this job done, and then we'll move on to the next one. The publicity, what he's suggesting will be helpful to us, because in about 6 weeks we are going to be officially going, so maybe we'll get in a couple of news stories or something, but it's going to be focused on service and not rah. Okay, thanks. So Brother Snowden, if you would, please.
For the opportunity that we've had on this training session and being able to learn more about the responsibilities and the duties that we have accepted to do at this time. We pray that thy Spirit will be with us to guide us as we go forth in this project, and that we might be able to assist in the growth of thy church in this part of thy vineyard, but become more aware of having the people in our area become more aware of the church and its purpose. We're thankful, Father, for our leaders. We're thankful for Sister Mare and Brother Preeton and Brother Scherer for the work that they're doing, and we pray that they'll bless them and help them, that they may continue to lead us and guide us as we go down this road. And this we pray for in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
So thank you very much. Thank you, Mary, for your excellent service, and thank you to everyone. It's absolutely wonderful to be working with such a superb group of individuals. I think I know pretty much every one of you, and I greatly appreciate each of your dedication, your willingness to serve, your love of the Lord, and your desire to do good things. So the Lord bless you all, I pray, in his holy name. Amen. Take care.
Mary? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is me, yeah.
Good night now.
I'm gonna go see if I can switch that over to the template setting. If I
Perfect.
can't, I'll give you a shout. Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Amen.
Good night, everybody.